All right, pause deadlifts. How and why? Let's get to it.
1,001, 1,002.
Woo! First, the how. It's not very complicated. You're going to set up the exact same way as you would for the normal deadlift. So step one, stance, 1 inch away from the bar, fairly narrow stance, toes out slightly. Step two, grip. Bend over, take your grip on the bar. Don't let your legs touch the bar. Step three, bend your knees slightly or drop your hips slightly. Same thing until your shins touch the bar. After that, your hips do not drop anymore. Step four, squeeze your chest up to set your back into extension. And step five, pull. Everything so far is the same as a normal deadlift. This is where it changes. Depending on where you're going to pause, my two usual places are going to be about 2 inches off the floor or right below the knee. Then you're going to pull just as normal until you get to that spot, and then you're going to pause a specified amount of time, keeping that bar tight to the legs. Usually I'm going to prescribe, if it's for myself or for somebody else, a 2-second pause. So be legitimate here. 1,001, 1,002.
Ready, set, 4. 1,001, 1,002.
And then move on from there. Lock the bar out at the top, just as you normally would. So that's the how. All right, next, why do we like pause deadlifts? All right, well, first of all, nobody likes pause deadlifts, but why do we use them? How are they beneficial to us? Why and really when might we use them? All right, as far as the when option, they can be a good time to use them could be a lighter or kind of a, really more of like a medium pull day, so kind of an assistance or a supplemental deadlift day. They can be used as a heavy day. That's what I'm using them for right here, if programmed intelligently. But very commonly we'll use them on a kind of a secondary deadlift day. Why might we use them specifically? All right, a couple reasons. Number one, they can be real good for practicing specific aspects of the technique, all right? You're still training hard, but a pause deadlift will punish you immensely if you let that bar drift away. So if you tend to let that bar drift away from your shins, pause deadlift will punish you. You will be very well encouraged to keep that bar tight to your shins. If you tend to raise your chest early on the deadlift, that will make the deadlift harder. You will be in a worse position. A pause deadlift will tend to make you correct that rather quickly. So from a technical perspective, a pause deadlift, much like a pause squat or maybe even a box squat, can be really useful for positional issues. Secondly, and this is not a very technical consideration, but sometimes a useful one nonetheless, especially if you train on your own and you don't have someone there coaching you and yelling at you and encouraging you. Let's say I have a proclivity to wimp out on the lift, right? To bail out, to stop pulling early. A pause deadlift will kind of teach me to stop that. It teaches me to keep pulling on the bar, because really this is just a medieval form of torture, right? This is a terrible, terrible experience. So you learn to kind of hang out there in a paused position for a certain amount of time. Suddenly pulling on a regular deadlift doesn't seem quite as terrible. Of course, a regular deadlift will be heavier than a pause deadlift because this is disadvantaged, but nonetheless, that can be a useful purpose for a pause deadlift. That'll pretty much wrap things up. Sorry I'm so out of breath the whole time. Hope this helps you get stronger and live better.